the tonal whiplash of going from Night Swim, one of the worst movies in the recent memory, to The Beekeeper, now maybe the greatest film ever made. It's indescribable. You can stop the review right here. This is everything I've ever wanted in a movie ever. Hey, what's up? My name is John Bonjour. I'm an artist and a film enthusiast. I have drawn some art and I would like to enthuse about the film. Today we are talking about The Beekeeper, Jason Statham's newest movie. And on that note, before we get started, I'd like to dedicate this video to my mom. Because growing up, she found out that the best way to connect with me was to watch as many stupid Jason Statham movies as possible. And that has always stuck in my heart as one of the greatest things that a mom could ever do. So Mom, this one goes out to you. I hope you watch The Beekeeper. I hope you like it as much as I do. And yeah, let's get on with the video. The Beekeeper obviously stars Jason Statham, and it was directed by David Ayer, who has had a very interesting filmography. He directed Fury and Bright, that Netflix movie, two very different things. And he also made the Suicide Squad movie that's the bad one, the one that's bad. And since he made that movie, he's been talking a lot about how he made a great movie and Warner Brothers kind of chopped and screwed with it in the editing, and made him do some things that he didn't want to do. And when that first started coming out, I was like, yeah, all right, okay, I don't know. Like, that sounds like you just made a bad movie and didn't want to talk about it, whatever. And then since then, I've enjoyed watching the way that Warner Brothers handles literally anything ever, and I fully believe him now. I bet he made probably the best superhero movie ever, and they just completely kicked it directly in the nuts. Because The Beekeeper is a perfect example of a movie that knows exactly what it wants to be. And that tone is exactly what you want in a Suicide Squad movie. That's a side note. But the important part is The Beekeeper is, guys, it's so good. It is the perfect B action movie. That's the thing that stuck out to me the most from this movie, is that it oscillates between being just a solid B movie, ridiculous. They say bee, wasp, hive, queen bee. They say all of those words conservatively 8 to 12 million times in this movie. And the whole concept of Jason Statham being this unkillable machine, like it leans hard into the B-movie ridiculous. B-movie. Like bees. Wow, I get Jerry Seinfeld so much more now. It leans into that schlocky kind of element really well. But the thing that takes this from being dumb and ridiculous and brings it into genuinely being easily my favorite movie so far this year, and probably going to make it to my top 10 just in general, is that it also has this vein of heart and warmth and darkness. Like, it has a reality kind of in the center of it. The core of this movie is about a guy who has just suffered a lot of loss and cares about people and wants to do the right thing, even when the right thing sometimes looks wrong. All of that is solid. It's handled well. The introduction of why the character is going on this killing spree, they started, and I was like, this is stupid, because I'm going to do some spoilers probably for this, so just know that going in. But the start of the film, if you haven't seen it, is that there's this elderly woman who's letting Jason Statham stay in her barn and do his beekeeping work on her land. And then she is super kind, super nice. She gets scammed out of all of her money. And when they were doing that scam, starting that scam process, because obviously, like, you know what this movie is. I didn't know why he went on the killing spree, but I knew that he did. So it was like, you're kind of waiting for the kill the dog moment from John Wick. So when they started the scam, I was like, really? That's what we're doing? Just an old lady gets scammed and he's going to go kill everybody? And then by the time the scam actually happened, I kind of bought into why that would be so frustrating. I mean, obviously it's a bad thing, but the movie made me buy exactly why you would go on some like massive revenge rampage for this. And then she killed herself. And I was not prepared for that, because I thought that we already knew why this was going to happen, and she was going to explain to him what happened, and then he was going to go on a revenge rampage, and I expected it to be a lighter-hearted start. And then obviously it wasn't, and it completely threw me off. It was out of left field. I wasn't expecting that, and I think that's probably the strongest point of this movie. it is unpredictable. And obviously, like, it's predictable in the sense that Unkillable Machine does a lot of kills. But the ways that they kind of play with that, the nuances in between that, that's what's unpredictable. There's moments where they introduce another beekeeper and she's like a psycho, and we get some backstory and some explanation that she's been here too long, that they should have cut her out already. And I was expecting, like, okay, we're setting up our main antagonist, physical antagonist, for him to fight, and it's going to be this back and forth cat and mouse game for the rest of the movie. And then he lights her directly on fire. And it was like, this is, okay, I don't know where we're going with this. That's what's so fun about this movie, is that it is, I never know. I never knew what it was going to do. Like, they make me question, is this character that I have followed and loved, is he going to assassinate the president of the United States? Another surprise, by the way, that was super well handled. And the fact that they make me wonder about that and try to decide whether or not I think he's about to kill the president, it's so impressive to me. I was on the edge of my seat, not just because the action is super well directed, and it is, and not just because the character is good, and he is, and not just because Jason Statham is untouchable in my eyes, and he definitely is, but because I genuinely wasn't sure what was going to happen, and that is not usually true in these kinds of movies. I said before, partially as a joke, that this is exactly what I look for in a movie, but honestly, that's not entirely false. Like, this is a great example of just a solid time at the movies that I think is worth experiencing, and something that's like, it's big, it's loud. Like I said, the action is super well directed. There's enough character to kind of hang your hat on. There's something to hold on to while you're going. I can't believe I'm saying this because I went into this movie expecting it to be pretty mediocre. It's called The Beekeeper. It's about a beekeeper. I kind of expected to leave the theater thinking, okay, well, I've sat through worse for Jason Statham. But I ended up leaving the theater thinking that this is among the best of his films. Possibly my favorite. If Operation Fortune hadn't come out last year, I would say this is the best in the last 5 or 10 years for sure. And it still might be. Like, I loved that movie from last year, but this one's really, I don't know. I'm actually genuinely, like, kind of blown away with how much I liked this movie. To the point that normally I go positives and negatives, and quite honestly, I don't really have any negatives for this. So I'm just going to say another interesting positive. I think that the coloring in this film, the color grading in this film, really exciting. It's something that feels, I mean, obviously it's a movie about a beekeeper. It's got a lot of bees involved. They could have taken that and just sort of went, okay, a little pastiche. We're going to put that on there and pretend like, okay, cool. They lean so hard into the yellow and kind of earthy color tones. There's a lot of golden hour lighting. So much of that feels like it's just dripped in honey. And it's like really kind of beautiful to watch. There's a lot of very impressively shot, beautifully lit scenes. I was blown away. I think this is a tremendous film. I don't have a ton more to say about it other than just, if you want a good time at the theater, The Beekeeper's it. Like that's exactly what you're looking for. I can't imagine a person who likes a good action movie and likes a good character walking out of this disappointed. So yeah, I'd highly recommend going to see The Beekeeper, while keeping in mind it is definitely R-rated, so if you have kids, I don't know, you do what you want. Like, that seems like it would be kind of a scarring just generally. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to talk about. Josh Hutcherson is in this movie, and he is so good. He's so extraordinarily fun in this. He plays such a specific brand of douchebag that he nails. I don't think that Josh Hutcherson is a bad person, but if he is, it would explain how he's able to play this character so well. So yeah, go see The Beekeeper. I highly recommend it. I think this is just a great time at the movies. And let me know what you think. Did you like The Beekeeper? Did you dislike it? Comment down below. Thank you for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows, Jason Statham, definitely Jason Statham, I will talk forever about Jason Statham, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the little bell, and comment down below what you'd like me to review next. Or do none of those things, because I am not your dad. Oh, and check out my comic book, Edge of Border Town. It's on my website, johnbonart.com. Tiny little plug. Please read it. I think it's good. And we're just getting started.